everyone, and welcome to our first episode of The Elephants in the Room, where we not only like to talk about the elephants in the room, we want to be the elephants in the room. So let's jump in. Today we're going to talk about a topic that we all love, and that is what makes this country different and unique. It's not just apple pie, it's not just baseball or the Super Bowl. We are a fundamentally different country. So, girls, what do you think?
I think some of those little nuances are the things that are really great about American culture, like, the Super Bowl and baseball and the American musical and jazz and a bunch of different things that really make our country something really unique.
Not to mention all the wonderful inventions and contributions that we've had as a country. I mean, peanut butter.
More seriously, though, what do you think, Curry, is something that really sets Americans apart from other nations in the world?
The chance to fail is such an important part of that. And America is a place where you can fail and try again. There's a professor at Harvard that said the average entrepreneur fails 4 times before being successful. And I think that's something that's uniquely American. We have this try again mentality. And when it comes to sink or swim, we will find a way to swim.
Risk can lead to reward if you are creating something that the market is interested in, that the market likes, then you will reap the benefit.
I have this dream, I have this thing that I need to achieve, and I'm gonna fight for it. And in this country, you really can. You can chase down every opportunity that you want to. You can change opportunities, midlife. This country is so unique that there are ways that you can get help, and there's ways that you can chase something of your own volition, so that really the sky really is limitless.
We have, shelters for homeless people. We have work programs. We have so many different things. So whatever your situation in life is, wherever you're coming from, there are both public and private opportunities for people to, change the course of their life. And nobody has to be a victim or have victim mentality, because really the sky is the limit here.
The freedom to pursue something else, the freedom to change your life, the freedom to say, I'm stuck here and I don't want to be stuck here anymore. I mean, that is such a great gift to be able to change the course of your own life. Yeah. There was a poll from the World Giving Index, and that puts America at number 1. There were 3 categories. One was, in the last month, have you donated to charity? Have you volunteered your time? And have you helped a stranger? And those were the 3 categories, and they asked 1.3 million people, have you done one of these things in the last month? And so America was number 1 on that list, not in each category, but overall we were number 1. And the thing that I found most interesting was that at the bottom of all 3 categories, all 3 of those categories, the lowest one was China. And when you look at the structure of their country and the communist thing that they live under, and you look at America, and there's just this correlation between freedom and generosity. And when you are free to live your own life, you think you're more willing to look at other people and lend a hand, and you're more concerned about the community around you because you're part of it, you're contributing.
It's kind of like in an airplane when the
I was
mask
just thinking
comes
that,
down,
yeah.
and they always say put your own mask on first, and then help the other people. And it's that kind of thing, I think, for us as Americans too. It's okay, I'm good, now who can I help? And I think that's kind of goes to your point.
And so to be able to say, I came from nothing, I've built up, now I can give back to those people, who are around me. I can see need, and I remember being there, and I had a hand that helped me, or whatever it is. And so now that you're in a position, like you were saying, now that you were there and now you're here and now you can help. And I think that impacts not only the giver, but also the entire community as a whole, because now you have a mentality of somebody helped me, I can help someone else.
That's the kind of culture we want to live in, right, as human beings. And I think that's what we want to cultivate, and that's why it's such a blessing to live in a place like this.
There are really 5 keys that I guess make America unique. One is liberty, obviously, so the ability to take action to pursue your own happiness. Egalitarianism, meaning, you know, the way that we treat everyone in a fair way. Also laissez-faire, so government having less of a hands-on approach, being more, you know, kind of laid back. And he also talked about populism, so the people being involved in this government that we formed, which was we the people, for the people, by the people. And the whole founding, the whole idea of America is just unique in itself because there was never a government like this before.
Yeah.
But I think also what really set this country apart from the very beginning was just that it was founded on religious principles. So it came out of, you know, declaring independence, leaving another nation, but also just making sure that it was going to be founded on Christian principles, on things, equality, justice, God's given dignity of every person. And that's ingrained into every part of, you know, the early documentation and the early founding of our country. And I think that's, you know, I don't think there's any other country really that had such a religious, biblical Christian perspective while being founded.
Yeah. The Christianity and the moral structure of this country is really essential to it working. Without that piece, like you were saying with the democracy and the everyone's equal, well, then like you said, greed pops in and envy and shame and all these things where you're just trying to be successful or whatever. And you can see pretty quickly that that's going to snowball out of control. So you really need that moral aspect, like you were saying,
Grounding
to temper that. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I just think of the time they said, well, what kind of government have you given us? A republic if you can keep it. Because they knew that a republic needed to have some sort of moral compass, moral basis to it, because human nature, they understood that human nature is inherently selfish. And that works to our advantage in capitalism, because if you give people the freedom to succeed, they're going to work hard to succeed for their own selves. But you need that in combination with, you know, having that moral compass, that, you know, belief that you are subject to God and a higher authority above yourself, to make you generous, to make you, okay, I'm going to submit to the law and authority, and I'm going to obey the law because the Bible tells me to, and, you know, and on we could go with it. But the Judeo-Christian principles were in the founding, and there is so much going on right now in our country to like you said, push back on that and say, no, they were deists. No, some of them were atheists. Whatever. The point is that they were able to come together out of nothing and agree upon this very complex system of government, write a constitution, write a Declaration of Independence, go to war as 13 separated colonies, and come out of it a united country. That is incredible, you know, in and of itself. And the fact that they were able to do that, I think, speaks to the fact that they were grounded in something bigger than themselves and higher than themselves, and it gave them that ideology. That ideology was, you know, with them as a group to come together and make this new form of government. And it's so evident to me and you guys as Christians too, like, that God's hand was in all of that. And so I think he definitely used the deist or the atheist or whoever, you know, to come together and make this nation. And I think that was part of God's sovereign plan, because as a nation we've been able to do so much in this world, there's been so much that we've contributed to the world, and we are that light on a hill, and, you know, the only hope really for the rest of the world. They all look to us as a nation. They all want to come here. They all want what we have. And I think that speaks to how well we were founded, and I also think that speaks to God's sovereign, you know, plan. And there's been so many times where all of that was in peril, and I think we're entering into another time of that right now. But we've seen, you know, basically miracles throughout history. You know, I think of George Washington and crossing the river and all that was, you know, miraculous. And so it's hard to deny, it's hard to diminish the Judeo-Christian principles and founding.
Yeah, and no, but I think, you know, you're talking about this miraculous hand in our foundation, and there's this great documentary by Kirk Cameron called Monumental, and that goes into a lot more detail about what had to happen for this nation to come about. And I think it's just so obvious that, like, God, a sovereign, holy, wonderful being, made this way for us. And that's not to say that Americans have more value than anybody else or anything like that, but like, this is a special place. And I think we as Christians love this country, and we love the beginnings, and we love the history, and we love the pioneers that charged west, knowing that, like, 80% of them were going to die on the way, and the people that wanted to get to space first, and people who were willing to fight so they could be free. And I think that's our legacy, and that's our history, and that's a beautiful thing. At a time when it's trendy to trash talk this country, we wanted to remind ourselves that this is a place worth celebrating. We are a country that is rooted in faith, in optimism, and hope for the future.
We thank you guys for watching us today, and we hope to see you again for another episode of The Elephants in the Room.